You mentioned a few of your picks. Are we missing any? Because you talked about Aave, you talked about Cardano. I know you're a fan of Uniswap. And again, if you look at the Uniswap volumes, it went from like 169 million to like, something like 80 times that of locked in value last year. And again, when I looked at that, I thought to myself, things don't grow this fast. I was actually a dot-com CFO in New York City in 1999, and things weren't growing that fast back then even. So, and again, this is verifiable on a blockchain, so you know the money's in there. So again, I agree with you. This rate of growth is something to definitely pay attention to. What other companies are you looking at, or types of companies? Also, do you find sometimes, Ben, that it just gets really weird out there when there's tokens upon other tokens, where people are throwing these weird curveballs, where sometimes it's almost hard to get your head conceptually around some of these new DeFi protocols?
Yeah, you know what's really interesting is, you mentioned the dot-com boom, and I really look at a lot of these projects. Like, here's the thing. We've got over 10,000 coins, I think, at this point on coinmarketcap.com, which is our, it's kind of the standard, like if you're legit or not, are you on CoinMarketCap? Not all the projects on there are legit. Some are scams, but in general, like that's kind of the benchmark. So we got about 10,000 there right now. I mean, just think about it. If 95% of all the coins we have today went away, and that's not the total amount of coins, that's just 95% of the 10,000, we would still have 500 coins, So when you really start doing that math, you start saying like, there are crazy ones out there that will not make it. We will have a considerable reduction in coins but before I believe we have another jump up, in the next 10 to 15 to 20 years, probably about 20 years. I think one day every retail store will have its own coin the same way they have their own website. That's kind of what I foresee things, where you learn the way to create kind of like a micro economy inside of a larger retail economy, the way they do with gift cards. Very similar. I think we'll see that in the future, but that's a long, long ways away. We'll certainly have what I think would be a bust, and it might be during either the next bear market or the one following, where we see that huge reduction in coins. But if there's 500 right now out there that are going to still be around, all of those other 95% that go away, that money in those have to go somewhere. So that gives you the confidence to know that a lot of these top coins are certainly going to be there. And some of the best coins that will be around probably haven't even been created yet. There are weird coins out there. There's a whole world of what we call meme coins, which are basically coins that serve no purpose other than a community agreeing that they're going to go up in value. And so we certainly see that's where things get really weird right now, are the meme coins, because of the, once again, thanks to the Muskrat, Dogecoin pumping out of control over the last year, number one gainer, probably in the top 100, definitely of 2021 so far. But that's where things get real weird. But then you've got other projects. Like I remember there was one, like the one that tracked the supply chain of bananas and stuff. It's like too nuanced. One day these will come to fruition. Like if you look at pets.com, it was actually a great idea. Webvan, great idea. We use it today. It's called DoorDash, or, Instacart is the one that delivers our groceries. So when you look at that, they were just way ahead of their time. So I think a lot of these really quirky ideas, they're great ideas. They're just too ahead of the time. They're solving problems. A lot of them start out with the idea of like, hey, I've got the solution. Now let me find a problem somewhere out there that'll match it, instead of doing it the reverse way. That's where we're getting a lot of these really good ideas for coins that I think will probably go away in the short term, but might come back around later as blockchain fully takes over. But in terms of the coins that I think are the big winners, I have a list of 5 coins that I believe are the long-term holds. Bitcoin and Ethereum by far and away are at the top. So you could almost kind of look at like those two. And then I've got 3 others I think are prime candidates to be long-term holds: Cardano, Binance Coin. I've already mentioned both of those. I already spoke about those, and also Chainlink. So Chainlink is really interesting because if we were in a full-blown bear market right now, which I don't think we are, but if we were to keep going down further, if we go back to $20,000, you have to start to realize like it probably is, a full-blown bear market, maybe multi-year bear market. In the bear market, Chainlink was the number one performer. So Chainlink is a project, we'll talk about the use case, but it's kind of moved counter to Bitcoin. When Bitcoin, during the bull run, Chainlink has not really performed nearly as well as most of us thought that it would, because we got a false expectation of how well it would do based on how it did in the bear market. But it just kind of seems to do better when Bitcoin isn't doing great. Chainlink is what we call a blockchain oracle solution. So when we're thinking about full blockchain adoption, you have to get blockchain and regular businesses to work together. So Chainlink it runs oracles that communicate off-chain data with on-chain data. It basically brings your business up to speed to blockchain. It's able to take a Walmart supply chain and be able to communicate what's already there into blockchain. And so phenomenal solution. So those are the 5 what I consider to be long-term holds. Then I've got another list that is what I consider to be kind of the next tier down. And 3 coins specifically really come to mind there. I could go ahead and say 5. Solana and Elrond, I would also put on those lists because they're kind of the, and also Polkadot. Those are kind of the next smart contract platform competitors behind Ethereum and Cardano. So if any of those stumble, those are the 3 that will probably move up. We've seen Solana crush it over the last couple of months. But the other 3 I put on that list, number 1 is Polygon. It's what we call an ETH layer 2 solution. So a lot of those problems Ethereum has, in the short term, Polygon solves that and makes it faster. So that's one that we've seen make a massive run up this year. I also say VeChain. One of the greatest adoption cases of blockchain is supply chain tracking, not just bananas, okay, but basically all products that are involved in supply chain. VeChain is far and away the number 1 coin in that space. It is a Chinese project, so we're starting to see some weird stuff happen between the West and the East when it comes to, is VeChain not on Coinbase because it's a Chinese project? I don't know. Are we seeing some of that space race between China and the United States kind of come to fruition through not allowing certain coins on different exchanges? I'm not really sure, but I do know VeChain is far and away the number 1 coin when it comes to supply chain tracking, one of the easiest real world use case adoption projects out there. The third one I would put on that list is XRP. And XRP, as it did have a big fall from grace, as it had the SEC lawsuit, it fell all the way down. I think it went back down to 15 cents or something like that, maybe even lower. Can't remember exactly. But, it's one of these that I put on that second tier because it's got to prove itself. A lot of banks are using the Ripple Labs software, which is behind the XRP coin, but they're not using the XRP coin yet. So once that XRP coin actually moves into adoption between money transfers for central banks and other banking infrastructures like Santander and others, then I think it could move up to that top list. But look, I don't want to get conspiratorial here, which I know your audience probably loves conspiratorial stuff, but I get a lot of information given to me. And I'm hearing from multiple sources that are nothing to do with people that are, heavily invested in XRP. We call them the XRP army, that a lot of these banks are working on, that they will be, after this SEC lawsuit, announcing a lot of big banks, and the future adoption of XRP by the banking infrastructure as a whole could happen. If that happens, I mean, you could be looking at a massive run up for a coin that's had, a lot of controversy, to say the least. So those are 10 projects, 5 on the long-term hold list, 5 on the next tier that your audience can research and look into. And I would say, by the way, for full transparency's sake, I think I'm probably invested in all 10 of those. So I'm invested in hundreds of coins. So
got it. And Aave and Uniswap, would you still buy at these levels?
Yeah, well, Aave and Uniswap, yeah, I would definitely buy at these levels. It's just, for me, like when you're looking at DeFi specifically, I look at a lot of these DeFi projects to kind of ride them in the short term and see what they're going to do. Aave is in our top 10 holdings. Uniswap is in our top 20 holdings. So I would say that between those 2 coins are definitely ones I believe in. And it's just, it kind of gets into like dicing, like, minutia here. Like I could have easily put either one of those on the list. If you think about Uniswap, what really gives Uniswap a lot of leverage there, no pun intended, is that it's the number 1 decentralized exchange on the number 1 decentralized finance platform. But I think there is a chance we could see more competitors pop up over time. And Aave is firmly implanted as, the number 1 DeFi platform outside of DEXs, outside of an exchange. It's the number 1 DeFi platform. So yeah, those are definitely 2 projects. But the thing about Aave, I would say to your audience, is that Aave's already had like the most massive, monumental Goliath run over the last year and a half, that it's going to be hard, even if it stays at the top, to get kind of the continued explosive gains. But it's one that you definitely want to have, a position in, I would say.
Yeah. And compounds, you still are. You think?
I'm meh on Compound.
Okay.
Compound's another one that at the beginning, absolutely explosive gains. It came out of nowhere. I felt like nobody even knew it was launching, and then it launched. It was top 10, top 15, like almost overnight. Compound is a good platform. I definitely don't want to say anything negative about it. It's just, for me, it's not a platform that I use. And since it's not a platform that I use, it just doesn't make, as high on my list. It's one that will be solid. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It'll be solid. It'll be a big gainer, but I don't look for it to be probably one of the most explosive ones over the next few years.